Good afternoon, everyone, world traveler. Welcome to the Air Journey to Australia and New Zealand, featuring our journey this coming summer, July 2023. My name is Terry Pui, and I will be your host for this presentation. Air Journey has been providing exciting flying journey all around the world since 1998, and we are celebrating today this year, our 25th anniversary. What we're going to be going over is this beautiful journey to Australia and New Zealand happening this summer. Before we get started, let me know a little bit of details on the journey, on the presentation, the webinar. You are all muted. On the right side of your screen, you should be seeing a control panel, which has a line called question. So if there's any question you have during the presentation, feel free to type them there, and at the end of the presentation, I will be looking at them and answering all of the questions. So, welcome to the Air Journey webinar to Australia. Let's go a little bit about our route, which has been selected for this summer journey. The route came from the fact that the journey around the world cannot happen in 2023 because of the forbidden airspace surrounding Russia, as well as landing even for technical stop in Russia. So we decided to offer a long journey, typical to the journey around the world we've done before, and to cross over by the Stans country and then entering the northern part of Australia before venturing to the Fiji island, Auckland, New Zealand, and then back towards Tasmania before flying back to Indonesia, down to Sri Lanka, Udaipur in India. Then the Middle East country will make for the first time in stop in Alula, which is one of the most fantastic new place and offering in the Middle East. And then back home via Tivat in Montenegro, then Bruges in Ostend, Belgium, and then back to the US. The journey will last from the participant in the US 69 days. It will cover 28 countries in 5 continents for a total of 31,000 nautical miles to be flown. And altogether, we have 30 different destinations. You're going to have a full passport with lots of mini stamps and memories you can share with your friends and family for a number of years. The Air Journey team is made of 3 very important departments. We have the journey director, which is the person who will be on the journey from the beginning to the end and will be handling all of the details at every one of the stop destination, as well as making the decision for the flight, no flight, and so on. We will have the onboard concierge, which will handle all of the land arrangement. And then in the office, we have 2 separate organizations, the flight department who handle everything related to flight, parking, overflight, fuel release, and then the land department who make sure that we have transportation, room reserve, as well as the activities and any special service you might need on the journey. So let's go deep into the itinerary because that's what is the exciting part of this program. We're going to be starting in Canada, then a night in Greenland, Iceland, then the Czech Republic, and then very soon we'll enter the Stans country with Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan, then India, Thailand, Vietnam, Brunei, Australia, Caledonia, Fiji, New Zealand, and then back to Australia to go to Indonesia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, India, Oman, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Montenegro, and Belgium. So let's discover together the itinerary. We have a fast crossing across the Atlantic of 5 days. We'll meet in Quebec City, then we'll have a technical stop, most likely in Goose Bay. There's an overnight in Greenland in Kangerlussuaq, and then the next day on to Reykjavik for an overnight before flying to Prague via Norway, stop in Stavanger most likely, and we'll enjoy 3 nights in Prague. So very fast crossing of the Atlantic in order to be ready to start our journey. So what's happening in Quebec City? Well, first, we're staying at a beautiful hotel, the Chateau Frontenac. And there, we're going to meet the journey director. The participant of the journey will be around a nice welcome cocktail. We'll go over all the goodies we'll be sharing with you for the journey, including backpack, shirts, jacket, hat, etc., etc. And we're also going to go over a very detailed briefing covering the general procedure of our journeys. We've been doing that over and over. We've improved this presentation over the years, and you're going to see that we took advantage of COVID to offer a new application which gives you access to a lot of information. First, overnight, we'll be in Greenland, in Kangerlussuaq. I'm sure at the end of the webinar, we're going to be able to pronounce the word Kangerlussuaq correctly. The only hotel in Kangerlussuaq is the Hotel Kangerlussuaq, which is inside the terminal. It's not a fancy place, but at least give you an idea of what the place is all about. And we always make the comment, there's two countries visiting. One is called Greenland, full of ice, and the other one called Iceland, which is full of green. Kangerlussuaq in Greenland is the exception. As you can see here, you only see green. Hotel is very simple inside the terminal. We'll go over the detailed briefing for the flight of the next day. And depending of the happening, we're either going to have a dinner at the gourmet restaurant related to the hotel, or we'll transfer to a place where we will have a dinner at the old radio station. Need to keep in mind that Kangerlussuaq Airport was built for the ferrying of the airplane from the US to Europe in the 1940s, and has been in use since that day. It's the only airport in Greenland which offers a radar, a log DME approach, as every details we need to make a successful journey. Next day, on to Reykjavik. It's a short flight, 770 nautical mile, and we'll be staying at the Hotel Borg, which is the Grand Dame, has been in Reykjavik for a number of years, Art Deco style, and we'll indulge you on the local cuisine. Over the years, the cuisine in Iceland has made substantial changes, and it's always a fantastic culinary experience. Next day, fast track to Norway, refuel, and then on to Prague, where we'll be staying at the stunning Modern Oriental Hotel. It's in the heart of Prague. It's also a former monastery who's been changed into a beautiful palace. And it's on the side where you also have the castle as well as the cathedral. So it's a very unique setup, and which allows to discover Prague a lot by foot. Very happy always to go to that place. There's a well-known little museum to visit and so on. Lots of surprise we're going to be enjoying. Then the journey we'll enjoy. When I created the program, I made sure that we will be reaching Thailand in Chiang Mai no more than 12 days after leaving the US. Since we already used 5 of them to cross the Atlantic, we have 7 days to reach Thailand. That will go first with a stop in Baku, then Samarkand, then Amritsar, and I'll go over that details, then on to Dhaka for a refueling stop, and then finally Chiang Mai. Baku in Azerbaijan is a very unique city, as you can see here, very modern. It's basically a country who has bailed out of the former USSR, all of these different countries making the Soviet Union, and we'll be staying at the magnificent Four Seasons Hotel and discover all of what that country has to offer. Will be a city tour, of course, and then we'll go to the wonder of the past time, and mostly number of them listed in the UNESCO World Heritage, and we'll see the Aztec Fire Temple and the Fire Mountain. Surprise coming up with that. Then on to Samarkand in Uzbekistan. We'll be staying at the Delimat Hotel. It's downtown, again, a very unique place, and we'll be discovering the city, what has to offer. Remember, all of these places were part of the Silk Route when India was discovered and the route to China. So a lot of history, a lot of colorful places, very, very enjoyable. Then on to Chiang Mai in Thailand. We'll reach the calmless, resourceful country of Thailand, the beautiful setup of the Four Seasons in Chiang Mai, and we'll be able to enjoy the serenity of the place. It's beautifully located. We don't do too much exploration there. We really enjoy our time to slow down and to recharge before we go on to the next leg of the journey. And part of the excursion will be to take us to see and feed the elephant, and we'll also see some orchid plantation. But remember, also Thai massage will be part of the program. Then from Chiang Mai, we are heading towards Australia. First up will be another relaxing place in Nha Trang in Vietnam. We'll be staying at a beautiful Aman resort before flying on to Brunei, name of the town in Bandar Seri. Brunei is a very, very wealthy country, own a lot of interest in the US. We'll be reviewing that together on the journey. And it's only one of the only places that alcohol is prohibited during our stay. Then from on, we'll have a stop towards Australia and to end up Darwin. That will be our first entry to the country of Australia before flying on to Cairns and then experiencing Hayman Island on the Barrier Reef. You cannot visit Australia. That's why we're going there without seeing the Barrier Reef. So Nha Trang, I mentioned the Amanoi Hotel, beautiful setup, beautiful greenery place with all what the Aman has to offer. Very unique hotel chain, very enjoyable. And over there is cooking class, there's bowling organized, there's different arrangement as well as again poolside spa treatment. Very, very serene area to visit. Then on to Brunei. We're going to be staying at the Empire Hotel there, which used to be a place built for the royal family of Brunei and now been transformed into a hotel and country club. In Brunei, we'll be visiting one of the mosques. It's the most recognized landmark of Brunei, and we'll be exploring the little water village because everything is built on water close to the ocean. There's also a museum to visit and so on. It's a very, very wealthy country. All of the resource or the finance is coming from gas as well as oil, and we'll be able to see that along the way. Then on to Hayman Island on the Barrier Reef. This is a unique place. We'll be transferring them by most likely helicopter, and we'll be able to enjoy snorkeling or diving over the Barrier Reef. It's a beautiful setup, plenty of relaxing time and enjoyable destination. Then we're leaving Australia by way of Brisbane to go on to French Caledonia, the town of Noumea, then on to Fiji, staying at the magnificent Como, and then exploring Auckland, Blenheim, and Queenstown in New Zealand. So let's go over the details of each one of the places. In Noumea, that's basically the French touch of that part of the world. We'll be staying at the Méridien, part of the hotel, initially French chain. And we have a little bit of freedom, like our journey, but this one through a mini-moke will let you explore the city and the surrounding places and have a little bit of time on your own. Then we go on to Fiji Island, to a place called Lokala. Lokala is the easternmost part of Fiji, and we'll be staying at the unique Como Lokala Island. Como is a unique hotel chain. They have some property here in the US. When I say the US, this part of the world, there is one in the Turks and Caicos at Parrot Cay. They just opened one in France, in the Burgundy region, Montrachet, and there's more places like that in different parts of the world. It's a very unique place, relaxing, a lot of things to discover. And again, we'll be able to do some cooking class, enjoy, and relax to that unique setup. exploration will be done by boat as well as on land. And then from Fiji via Norfolk Island, we're going to go to the capital of New Zealand, Auckland. We'll be staying downtown, and I'm taking you there to the Museum of Transport and Technology. We all pilot, we all enjoy airplane. I know some ladies are listening to us, but there's a unique aviation hall, and as you can see on the photo over here, there's that remaining Sunderland built by Bristol Aircraft in the UK, which is been showing what was happening during the Second World War in that part of the world. Then we're going to go on to a lodge in the middle of New Zealand called Wari Koho Lodge, and we will see what New Zealand is well known for. Quite a number of ships. They're going to be all around the place, and we got some surprise for you to enjoy. Hopefully you'll see you can cut the wool and make things happen. We are also invited at one of the private collection of some plane over there. As you can see on the photo, that is the second aviation museum we'll do. That's the second of the journey. There's no more, but at least we go that part of the world, we get a better understanding what has happened during World War II in these places during the 1941 to 1945. And after that stop in the middle of New Zealand, we'll end up in Queenstown. Again, a beautiful hotel, Matukari Lodge, and we're going to be exploring Milford Sound. We have some helicopter presentation. We're going to have some wine tasting at some winery. So again, a very in-depth review of what that part of the world has to offer. Then from there, it's the further place that we're going to be on the journey. It's time to go back towards home. So from Queenstown, we'll go on to Norfolk Island, Brisbane to end up in Sydney. The reason we have to do that routing, as you can see, is because Queenstown to Sydney is only about 750 nautical miles, but you need to have HF radio in the airplane to be able to do that routing. We are still in negotiation because one of the participants has the HF radio, and we're going to see if the other airplane carry a sat phone. We're going to be able to basically cut some of the flying time. So I'll let you know about that one. After Sydney, we go on to Hobart, Tasmania. Might see a little devil over there. Then Adelaide, we're going to see some of the wine country of Australia. Ulara, which is the new name or the real name of Ayers Rock, that big meteorite who landed in the middle of Australia. And then we'll exit Australia by Broome before ending up in Tambolaka. Many of you might not know what Tambolaka is all about, but that's Indonesia. It's south of Bali. It's a beautiful place, which is not as touristic as Bali. The idea of us flying our own airplanes to be able to see the world and visit places which are not too easily reachable by normal transportation means. So of course, Sydney, we're going to be staying at the Hyatt, facing the famous Opera House. We're looking at the schedule, and if we can get you into the Opera House to see one of the either music or opera, we'll make sure to let that happen. And we're also going to be visiting some highlight of the city, going to Bondi Beach, of course. There's a Aboriginal culture tour. It's a very unique places. Our hotel is the Hyatt facing the Opera House, so you're going to be seeing the changing of the color in the evening. It's an unobstructed view, very unique setup. If you go to Sydney, that's the way to do it. Then after Sydney, down to Hobart, known as Tasmania. Again, a very unique property there we'll be using is Sapphire Freycinet. A couple of things there. It's far away from an airport, so again, we have organized helicopter transfer to take you from the airport to the lodge. We'll be enjoying the local wonderful thing of Tasmania and Australia, obviously, with the homemade whiskey, gin, wine, etc., etc. And we're going to be seeing the Bicheno penguins that you can see on the photo. These guys are not that big, but they're not afraid of human beings, and we'll be able to enjoy them very, very closely. And of course, Ayers Rock, you can see in the background over there, Ulara, and we'll be staying at the Longitude Hotel which has this beautiful room with unobstructed view to the rock through this huge sliding door, a unique environment. And we'll take advantage, of course, of the site where we can visit the different places that have been seen there, the Uluru, a guided tour, a place to take the photos. There's going to be a sunset, there's going to be sunrise for the people who want to wake up early. Unique stay. And as you can see, it's still very far away from civilization. It looks like the place is just made for you. From there on, we go to Tambolaka in Indonesia, and we'll be staying at the Ni Sumba Resort, which is one of the 10 most amazing places in the world. Nothing to be said. There is everything from land organization, horseback riding, boat schooling, and so on. Beautiful place. Again, a little bit of cooking class. There's going to be a lot of white sand beaches. There's a surf class for the people who want to do a little bit of surfing. There's a beautiful spa. It's a luxurious place to enjoy. And then from Tambolaka, we're going to head back towards the Middle East. Decision of the program is that we'll fly to Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia, then on to Matala, which is in the southern part of Sri Lanka. Then we'll go on to Udaipur and stay at the Lake Palace before arriving in Muscat. So let's go into the detail of that return leg. Kuala Lumpur will be staying at the Mandara Oriental. Again, we already staying at one prior to that. It is basically located close to the Petronas Twin Tower, and we'll see at one time that was the highest building in that part of the world. That record, of course, changed on a regular basis, but there is absolutely gorgeous view from all the way there. You also need to know there's been so many construction in Kuala Lumpur that the ground is slowly sinking, and that Kuala Lumpur, as the capital of the country, is going to be moving away to drier land, or at least elevated land, to avoid the whole city starting to reach on the water. This is basically the ground is sinking. It is not because the water level is rising over there. Then we go on to Sri Lanka, and we've chosen there to stay in a Wild Coast tented lodge. That's the name of the place. You'll be staying in a tented lodge, but very comfortable, air conditioning, trees, and so on. The reason we choose that place is going to give you a little bit of taste of Africa, because we are right next to the Yala National Park, where you have leopard, bears, and elephant. And during our stay, we're going to be able to enjoy some game run. Exciting place. And the hotel, not the hotel, I'm sorry, the airport we're going to be using there is a modern airport, has been built less than 10 years ago. There's about 2 commercial traffic a week, so we have the airport for ourselves. I've been there before. It's a pretty unique setup. Then from Sri Lanka, we move to the heart of India, and we'll stay at the Taj Lake Palace, which was made famous, of course, by the Maharaja, but also in some of the James Bond movie. So we might have the time to watch one of them. We'll take the time to, of course, explore the lake by boat. We'll be surrounding the town of Udaipur. There's so many things to be seen over there. There is a classic car collection worth to be seen, and we'll do some very cool, heritage work along the place. A very unique place, and being far away in the Taj really make that experience so unique. And then on to Muscat, and we've been to Muscat many times on our journey around the world, but this time we switching to a new hotel who belong to Jumeirah. It's right on the water. Jumeirah is also the chain to whom belong the Burj Al Arab in Dubai, and it just opened that unique property. So we'll be staying in that nice place at the right time of the year. We're going to be immersing ourselves in the Omani history, the museum, and so on, and also visit the unique palace of the Sultan Qaboos, as well as the different local setup of the play. Then from Muscat, it's time to go back towards Europe. We're going to make a stop in Bahrain, in Manama, then Alula in Saudi Arabia, Heraklion, tech stop in Crete, before going on to Tivat in Montenegro and Bruges. So Bahrain is a unique place, has been building unique properties, unique building, as you can see here on the photo. That's the Four Seasons, by claiming land from the ocean and stunning appraisal. It's secluded oasis because we're staying on the Four Seasons on that island. We'll be visiting the World Trade Center with the wind turbine, the skyscraper. We'll be seeing the souk. We'll be visiting also the circuit or the Formula One Grand Prix on the track. Some of us might experience driving the car on the track. So a very unique way of seeing that part of the world. And then on we fly to Saudi Arabia, to that new offering to tourism for around the world called Alula. Banyan Tree, also one of the beautiful chain of hotel around the world, has opened a stunning property. And Alula is very, in a way, similar that what Petra is all about, but the government of Saudi Arabia has decided to invest a lot of money to make it a very stunning attraction. We will be also hosting, or they will be hosting us, the Saudi Arabian Flying Club, and I believe their president is listening to this webinar, and we're looking forward to our visit there, which will be very, very unique. Then from now, as you can see here, there's the Igram UNESCO World Heritage. There's hiking, a lot of desert safari, a lot of things to be done over there. Very enjoyable place. The photo on the right is showing you a view from the Banyan Tree Alula, but it is also a stunning swimming pool that we're all going to be seeing. Then from then, we go on to Tivat in Montenegro. We'll be staying at the one and only at the old town of Kotor, UNESCO World, and then we'll do an excursion around the tour. I have to mention a little things over here about Montenegro. We're going to be going back there in late September, early October. We are still checking the availability, most important, the weather we're going to have at the end of September. And if it's not what we're looking for, we might switch for a stop in Rome and stay in the internal city. So I will update you on that information. And then from there on to Bruges in Belgium, called the Venice of the North. It's a place very unique. I used to live very close by, about 40 miles away in my youth, and always enjoy the visit of that stunning place. Very enjoyable place to discover. There's beautiful art, there's Michelangelo, there's Madonna of Bruges, etc. A lot of time to be spent there and discover that part of the world. So let's talk a little bit about the details of the journey we have over here. What is important in our journey is the group dynamic. We're going to have a journey with 4 to 6 airplanes. We already have 3 confirmed at this time. And when we mention the group dynamic, we love the idea of having friends or family joining the participant for part of the journey. So they basically change the dynamic of the group. They bring fresh air and they can discover the experience. It's a very, very, very unique enjoyment. The pace of the journey, we pay very close attention to that. It's a long journey, 31,000 nautical miles. So we try to spend as much time as we can in each location. It is not a race to see the world. It is a journey to discover the world, bring memories for a lifetime. And I always love to see that slide over here. When I set up the Air Journey company 25 years ago, the rules of my wife were 2 to 3 nights minimum in each location. Now we are talking 3 to 4. No departure before 9 a.m. And only flying in good weather. Never fly at night. And we minimize the airport time to a minimum. So as you can see, On the pace of the journey, we have 35% relaxing, 39% touring, only 2% fuel stop, tech stop, and flying. So a lot of time to discover the world. So let's go also what is now needed to go to the journey. We highly recommend securing a second passport, and you will call the office to make that happen. The reason we have to do that is for two reasons. The first one, we need to secure a number of visas for the journey. Some of them will be electronic, some of them will be a stamp in the passport. We don't want you to be unable to travel while the visa are being processed. And it's also basically a safety feature. If your passport happen to be lost, you're going to be able to continue the journey because you have that second passport available. Second passport is valid for 4 years. Remember that these days we cannot add pages to passport. We need to have the passport redone. It's an important process. We know that like the back of our hand. So when you're ready to join the journey, you need the second passport. Call us and we'll make it happen. Talking about the visas, on this journey, we'll need 12 of them. Australia, Azerbaijan, they're all listed here in alphabetical order, not in the way we're visiting them. But Bahrain need one, India, Vietnam, Indonesia. We're going twice to India. New Zealand, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, and Uzbekistan. So an interesting things. That's why we need pages in the passport to be able to imprint all of these beautiful setup. In regarding health, of course, you're going to need to see your doctor and listen to what he has to say point of view of inoculation. We do, of course, pay close attention to COVID-19. At this time, none of the country have any restriction, but do carry your vaccination card with you and ask your doctor about maybe a booster for hepatitis A and B, a tetanus booster, and typhoid. Again, the office has most of the information on these, so feel free to give us a call and we'll give you the detail. We're going to be wearing pilot uniform during our journey. Basically, as soon as we leave Prague, we're going to be wearing them. We have all of the details you're going to see further down the slide over here, but honestly, it helped a lot through the passport situation. Everyone on board the plane will wear a uniform. We get the 4-bar for the captain, the 3-bar for the first officer, and we have a whole segment of how many bars you can have on the shirts. But it's very easy for the flying days. You don't have to think about what you're going to be wearing. It's going to be pilot uniform. So on the luggage and packing, we need to keep in mind that we're going to be traveling for 69 days. You don't need 69 pair of underwear. You know, there's a whole bunch of dry cleaning along the way, and we negotiate with the hotel the different price. So do remember that. You should have all of your luggage on wheels. They should be organized by weather type. Since we're flying on an airplane, we are kind of not limited at the amount we can take, but don't overdo it. We only have 2 hands, so 2 bags would be a nice thing to do. Again, laundry service. We will provide you with luggage tag. We've been using them over the years, and the luggage tag we have on one side will have the tail number of the airplane, and on the other side, your family name. The beauty of this tag is that it's helpful for the handler at the airport. They know where the luggage belongs to, and it's also helpful for the hotel. They know who they belong to bring them to the proper room. This is not what you're supposed to do. This is a good advertising for the glove luggage. As you can see, you can stack them up along the way, and with one hand, you can pull all of that. So that's very nice. But in this case, these were the luggage for just one couple. A little bit of nightmare to find what needed on the journey. Okay, communication along the way. There's different ways. There's telephone, but we like to share the journey among ourselves. But we mentioned 2 things over here. You should set up on your own a WhatsApp for family members and so on. We do create our own WhatsApp for the journey, and that's the way we communicate with the members to reconfirm pickup, restaurant, timing, briefing, etc., etc. Everybody become a very good use. We also share on the WhatsApp some of the most beautiful photos. The other way to share with your family and friends will be to create a personal blog. This is a lifetime adventure. There's different formula to use the blog. Most important one will be to have one you can populate when you are offline and then be able to upload when you reach the destination and connect to the internet. We, on every one of our journey, use a program called Tripcast, which go on the phone, computer, as well as the iPad. And we use that to share our most beautiful photo of the journey. We're going to be taking a lot of photos. We don't need to have all of the photo shares, only the best one, 5, 10 a day, whatever is convenient. And the beauty of that application is that when you return for the journey, you can download them, all of them, directly to your computer. And compared to WhatsApp or any other way of sharing the photo, all of them are in high definition. So you can use them for printing photos, doing photo books, etc., etc. Very unique situation. Let's go also, and I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but on the flying and the safety. As I say, we pay very close attention to weather. We don't fly at night. We pay close attention to the world situation. In 69 days, a lot of things can happen around the world. And we, if a situation is deemed not safe, we're going to not go there or change it or reorganize. There is separation between every airplane on departure. We don't do any formation flying. That's not authorized, not allowed by us. We also handle all of the fuel release in order to make sure that there's fuel waiting for us at the different airport. And when we decide of the journey, because I'm the one creating the journey, pay very close attention to the airport environment. We're using ICAO airport. We're not going to be using short runway or gravel runway or grass runway. We need at least 5,000 feet. We need to have a fenced airport. We need ICAO certification and so on. That's very important. And I do have the list of the airport available for you. When you fly internationally, there is a different change. For example, the altimeter setting in the US, we use to the inches of mercury. When you go abroad, it's millibar. Sometime we encounter meters instead of feet. We'll go over that during the briefing. Outside of the US and Canada, you do not start the engine of the plane. You have to ask permission, and that's called a startup clearance. You need to learn how to make a position report. We help you doing that on the first briefing along the way. You need to know how to create a user waypoint. That's mostly important for the crossing of the Atlantic. There's also some LOA requirement, such as MNPS and ADSB, but whatever you have here in the US should be sufficient for the journey. That's why we mentioned the LOA. When we go to the ATC communication, we have to be very clear on our speech. Remember that English is not the first language of the controller around the world. So we have to enunciate carefully what we're saying. We don't use any slang. It's very basic. And when you travel abroad, the first letter of the registration of the plane doesn't start with N as November. It can be F as Foxtrot for France, or G as Golf for the UK, or D as Delta for German. So we basically tell the full tell number of the plane, like November 123 Alpha Delta. And in the briefing, we'll provide you with the list of the route expected for the next clearance, so you get all of that populated into your GPS along the way. Along the way, we don't have access to XM weather. So some of you flying an airplane with a G1000, 3000, we can go for the Garmin GRS 56, and you can ask specific detail of the route of flight. Radar on board will be used in Europe and Australia. We have satellite access. We'll go that over the brief. Same thing for lightning, TAF, METAR, wind aloft. So Connex weather basically is very helpful if you have a Garmin equipped airplane. If you have another kind of equipment, contact us and we'll let you know what can be organized to get access to that online weather. We are traveling basically nearly around the world. Around the world is 25,000 nautical miles. We're going to be doing 31,000 nautical miles, and we're going to go through different kind of weather. As you can see, average is going to be around 65, 70 degrees. It's going to be as low as 50 and as high as 90. So we'll go over all of the details through the brief of the journey. In the beginning, I mentioned that during COVID, we created the Air Journey application. You've seen throughout the years that when you receive an email with an attachment, if you don't download the attachment and save it on a separate program, if you try to open your email at altitude, you're going to see that, yes, there's an attachment, but you cannot use it because it's not sitting in the email. So we created that Air Journey app where you're going to download that on your phone and your iPad. And from the office, we're going to be pushing this information directly to the iPad. You don't have to do anything, just be online, and all of these different folders will be populated. On this particular photo over here, we have the journey itinerary, the flight briefing, the copy of the ICAO flight plan, the fuel release, in the US, the EAPs, etc., general declaration, etc., etc. But there's also one nice thing we have created is the for-flight link. We're going to be using for-flight throughout the journey, and we send the brief. Attached to the brief is the for-flight link made out to your airplane. So when you click on it, you're going to be populating your for-flight application. And if you have the stream in your airplane from the iPad, you can upload that directly to the GPS. A lot of save time, a lot of detail, a lot of information. We're getting pretty good on the use of technology here. So let me go over a little bit of flight briefing for every leg of the journey. This is what we do. It's comprehensive. We do it the night before, and we go over the route to be flown, the departure, the en route, the arrival, what kind of approach we can expect, the ground procedure, and of course we look at the weather for the TAF, the METAR, the NOTAM, satellite, and radar. And I'm happy to say that I am a weather chicken. If the weather is bad, we're not going anywhere. We stay where we are, and we've done that over the years to the enjoyment of everybody. This is not a race. This is not something we need to go for. Safety is the main concern. Weather is bad, we're not going anywhere. You can see over here all the details for the briefing. We're also going to be providing you an aircrew card for Air Journey. That's very helpful at the airport. As soon as we look like an official person, people do enjoy to take a look at that. Okay, next one. Survival equipment. Along the way, we're going to have survival equipment needed. For crossing the Atlantic, you need a raft with a canopy, a ladder. We do rent raft for that. You need a life vest for the rest of the journey for every person in the airplane. For the single engine crossing the Atlantic, we'll need the immersion suit, the Gumby suit as it's known. And it would be nice if you can also have an EPIRB, a sat phone, a tracking device. I'm going to go more in details with that, but in order to be able to communicate if anything should happen. Tracking device, the one we use is the Garmin InReach. It's a two-way communication with message we can send and receive, and you can also get basic and premium weather. And the way it's set up by Garmin, you can also have your family, friends tracking the plane. And if anything should happen, it's also an SOS capability. VHF handheld. So let's go back to the fact that in the different countries, we're going to need to get a startup clearance. Instead of using the battery of the airplane, let's use a handheld machine outside the plane so you can stay cool in a certain way. If you don't have one, if you buy one, make sure the one you buy can host 110 to 240 volt. By experience, I can tell you if you plug it 110 to a 220 plug, you're going to see some smoke. So the one to get access to will be the one 110 or 240, but also make sure there's a package, an adapter in the back of the handheld that can be filled with AA batteries, and you don't have to worry about charging, decharging, and so on. Just use the battery. Aircraft maintenance. So we've been doing this flying journey for the last 25 years. Do airplane break sometime? Yes, they do. So that's why it is very important for us, and you're never left alone, to find out where is the closest place to fix the plane. We have contact here in the US, the manufacturer, to help us out, Textron, Embraer, Pilatus, TBM, HondaJet, and so on. So we have access to all of these things. During the journey or prior to the journey, we'll ask also to have access to your mechanic. So if there's any question, we can talk to him. And based on the kind of airplane you're going to have, we'll discuss the tow bar, because sometimes the plane needs to be pulled. We need to make sure we have the correct tow bar or the adapter to make that. An adapter is also going to be needed for the oxygen. Some of the older airplanes don't have the standard one, so we need to make sure we have that available. We have the list of the service center. We'll pay close attention if there's any service need to be done, if there's any charging or things need to be replaced. Communicate with us. We'll make that happen. Service center along the way, as we've listed here, the Pilatus, Daer citation, different color. We don't have the Embraer one, but it's me coming up. So as you can see, there's quite a number of places on our route of flight, and we should, if there's any issues, we should be able to handle that. In the program or the package we're going to provide you, there is a jet fuel conversion chart, because in the US it's gallons, some place it's going to be pounds, some other place it's going to be liters. So you don't have to do the math. We have a beautiful form we're going to do that. For the people who need Priest, the additive for the fuel, you're going to need to bring these cans, because most of the other places in the world don't have pre-mixed, and that's something we're going to have to do at the time of fueling. The good news is that as of this past week, the average jet fuel price is $4.98. So that's pretty attractive compared to what you pay sometime in the US. But on the other end, you're also going to have some fees for using the airport facilities, some of the FBO, the handling, and so on. So we'll go over that. You're all going to need to secure a fuel card if you don't have one yet. We're using World Fuel to make it happen. And when the fueling takes place, they do want a crew member to be there. They don't do fueling of the airplane outside the US with no pilot around. They don't want to take the responsibility. One of the rules we also have is refuel on arrival. If anything happens, at least we're aware of it, and we're going to solve the issue. On one of the journey we had here with Textron this year, unbelievable. We had a fuel truck broke down in Tortola. No big deal. Our next destination was Nevis. And guess what? The fuel truck there was broken too. Never happened before. Well, and in Nevis, the fuel truck was repaired, so we had no issues. But this is why we'd like to have surprise on arrival and not surprise on departure. We're going to need documents to provide and secure the permit for the airplane. So passport, obviously, at least 6 months validity after your return, pilot license, medical, the registration, airworthiness, radio license, and the aircraft insurance. For the aircraft insurance, there's two aspects. There's going to be the territory, making sure that the places we're going to go to is included into your program. But also for Europe, we're going to need excess liability. I know this is getting to be a problem, but we have a solution. Through the Air Journey Club, we have a cover for the membership to offer the excess liability. So again, that's something that we can discuss with the office. Previously, I mentioned the airplane fees going to be handling, custom, immigration, landing, parking, overflight, etc. And the way we've done that in order to facilitate and expedite the time at the airport is that prior to the journey, we'll send you a request for a certain amount to be advanced to Air Journey, and Air Journey would be handling all of the payment towards the different handler, custom, overflight, and so on. So that's one less thing you have to do during the journey, and that will remove any type of time we spend at the airport. Mentioning the aircraft insurance liability, as you can see, for an airplane up to 6,000 kilo, need 10 million, and from 6 to 12, 25 million. On top of that coverage, we also need $338,000 per seat installed in the plane. So we'll go over that if you have any question, and if your insurance company is giving you a little questioning on what is needed, let us know, and we'll help you securing what is needed. When you secure such a journey, we highly recommend the trip cancellation insurance. Again, we have all the details for that here in the office. We are using AIG Travel Guard insurance, and it's a very comprehensive program for cancellation. Does not, just to be clear, does not cover any cancellation due to an airplane problem. An airplane broke down, a part is missing, the plane vessel, only for medical issues, for family-related issues, but not for airplane-related issues. As soon as you reserve the journey, we'll be sending you a special request profile form. Please do take the time to answer the question relating to diet, relating to what you want to do. I always like to joke on one of the journey. We had a lady who was preparing competition for ice skating, going around the world, and we managed to secure an ice skate ring at many of the destinations. Not every one of them, but quite a number of them. And when you hear ice skating in Dubai or in Thailand, that was a feast, but we made it happen. So this is where we enter the question and answer. So I got several questions here asked. First one is from David, asking us if it's going to be a copy of the webinar to review later. Yes, we have. We're going to be sending you a link. You can download the webinar and go over all the details and so on. Another question regarding the passport. Yes, if you're running out of page on the passport, we recommend to secure a second passport. If you live close to a big city, by taking an appointment, and we know how to make that happen pretty fast, you can secure the passport in an easy way. If you don't want to spend the time and go yourself to the passport office, we also use a company called Travisa, and they'll secure the passport and the second one on your behalf. Leaders. Yeah, as I mentioned previously, we are going to be seeing some places where we're going to be using liters, but don't worry about that. We have the form. In every combination, you count between gallons, pound, and liters, so very easy to secure. On the briefing, we'll provide you the price of the fuel at destination as well as the next destination, so you might not need to tanker. We keep an eye on that. If you have fuel a little cheaper at the next destination. Kids on the journey, yes, that can happen. We have that happen in the past. We'll give you a different quote because depending on the age, they might not be enjoying all of the destination as well as the wine and so on during the journey. So that's something that can be done. And I think that's it. That's all the question I have. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for attending this webinar, and we look forward seeing you on the journey. Enjoy.